super excited to launch kind of my new podcast, Speakers Helping Speakers. I really wanted to take this time and spotlight all of the different speakers I know in my life and have them share a little bit about public speaking, how they overcame their fears. Because pretty much every speaker I know had a fear of public speaking at some point or had a fear of speaking in front of an audience. So I'm super excited to have my guest, Souligna, with us today. Thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Macy. So honored to be here as your first guest on your podcast show. So super excited to be here with you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We got referred to or got connected by a gentleman named Jimmy, and he is one of those connectors. He's just connected me to so many amazing people in my life. And he's one of those people who says, I don't really know what you guys might talk about, but just go ahead and talk. And we had an amazing conversation a few weeks ago. So she has a very fantastic story. So why don't we just first kick it off just a little bit and talk a little bit about how you got into speaking? How did you even know this was something you wanted to do?
Well, I actually didn't know I was a speaker until I actually started just doing it. So I am the clear physical example of what not to do. And I love being the walking billboard for those people because if I can do this, I know you can do this. And so funny you should ask. 8.5 years ago, I left corporate. I put my resignation in. It was a typical Saturday, like any other weekend. I was an HR manager for a hospital system in Iowa. I had my 3.5-year-old son with me in the office because I was just wanting to catch up. And I remember looking across the boardroom and I thought, this is not my life. My child is sitting there with his juice box and crayons at my board table. And I'm looking around the office and I just remember feeling like my soul was dying. And I said, there's got to be more than this. And I was going through a really rough separation at the time. And my husband and I were at the time, we were trying to figure out how was this going to all play out and what we're going to do with our son. So that Saturday, I typed up my resignation letter, set it on my CEO's desk for Monday morning. And 3 weeks later, I went to my first chamber meeting, then led to my Young Professionals Network meeting. And from there, I was asked to just come on and share about how to use social media, how do you brand your own business, how do you build a website, all those things, right? Because that's my background. I happened to meet the right person at the right time. And I want to stress that emphasis. It is your network. It's who you're building relationships with that can land you to the next speaking gig, that can get you in front of the right audience, that can get you into the room that's usually closed. So through coaching and mentoring and investing in coaches and mentors, I was asked to go speak at my very first event in front of 1,200 entrepreneurs who were starting their business, scaling their business, and I freaked out. I was like, I had never done this before. I'm usually speaking to small groups. As an HR professional, I teach and train and do safety meetings and whatnot. So I was used to being in front of a group of people, but 1,200 eyeballs looking at me, I said that was a little bit overwhelming. So anyway, I took I took the opportunity to say it's now or never. This is what I wanted to do. I didn't have a backup plan. There was no blueprint. I really didn't know what I was doing. I went to a chamber event because that's what I thought. That's where I got to meet people. I did get clients from there. It was hanging out at the Starbucks 3 days a week. People started noticing me working and they're asking what I was doing. And my first client was an African-American man who needed help with branding, created marketing collateral. He told a friend of a friend, he told other friends, right? And then the chamber network meetings I was going through to, I was talking about what were the biggest mistakes of entrepreneurs trying to build a website. And so from that, my own mistake was I spent $6,000 on a website that I never got. That became
Oh
a course.
gosh.
So I started teaching. So the thing I want to stress here is for people who are looking at speaking, it's not necessarily like, the fear of speaking, it's natural, right?
Hmm.
You're in front of a bunch of strangers, they're all staring at you, and you're wondering, oh my God, do I have food in my teeth? What are they thinking? What if I say the wrong thing? What if I fumble and mess up and I say something that doesn't make sense, right? First of all, we're all human. We all walk around like we have this veil on that people can't see through us. It's like, hello, we can see you, right? So now as a seasoned speaker, I know that before I even get on stage, there are women that are clearly already judging me based on what I'm wearing, what shoes I have on, like how my hair is done, right? So as a speaker, I already know, like I have to get people's attention. And so that day that I took my speaking, I took the stage. I had been preparing for 3 months. I knew that I needed to speak for 20 minutes. I knew that they wanted to learn about social media. How did I help these multi-billion-dollar brands grow their businesses? And how did I use social media to leverage our brand influence, right? I had like 78 slides in this PowerPoint presentation. I had a brand new laptop. I had all my cords and everything else, right? So imagine this, anything and everything that could go wrong that day went wrong. And I'll tell you why. There were 14 other male speakers that day that were presenting. They were all pitching, selling their books, coaching courses, all their stuff. I was the only female speaker that was actually, I thought it was a charity spot. So let's just have her on. She's never spoke before. We don't have to pay her. She can just come on, right? Every speaker went over their time. The guy that was on before me went over an hour.
Oh
And so
my
by the time I
gosh.
came up, I know it was so disrespectful. And I had my son with me at the time. He's 4 years old. He's holding his teddy bear. We're in the front row, right? And so the guy comes and grabs me. He's like, "Hey, you're next. Do you want to go on? But because we're running late, you only got 5 minutes. Do you want to go on or not?" I said, "Let me go to the bathroom. I'll let you know." I went to the bathroom, cried my eyes out. Then I started getting nervous. I started puking. There was a lady outside the stall freshening up her hair and makeup, and she just put her hands on me and she said, "Can I pray for you?" Now, I was not a Jesus follower at the time. I was still not clear on if God even existed. And I thought, why not? If it's going to help me calm down, sure. This lady prayed over me. The only thing I remember her saying was, "Let the words come through her mouth. Whatever she needs to speak for you today, please let her speak the words you need her to speak today."
Mhm.
So I went back upstairs. We were in the historic Tampa Theater in Tampa, Florida. Beautiful theater. The place was packed because the keynote presenter was Les Brown. I don't know if you know who Les Brown is.
Oh yeah.
Huge #1 worldwide motivational speaker, and everybody was coming to him. At the time, of course, my boyfriend was mentoring him. So Carter is hanging out in the green room with Les Brown, didn't know who this guy was, and he's sitting on Les's lap, like it's Uncle Les, right? So I tell the guy, like, "Look, mic me up. I'm going to go on." He goes, "But you got 5 minutes." I said, "That's fine." The AV guy didn't have a cord for my brand new laptop, so I couldn't even have my PowerPoint. There was no Wi-Fi, so I couldn't even email it to him. And I started panicking, like, oh my God, I'm about to go on. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. This 20-minute presentation now became 5 minutes. Like, what in the heck am I going to teach these people in 5 minutes? Next thing you know, I hear the announcer doing my intro, the curtains close, and I'm about to be presented. And I just came out and I was just authentic. I said the same thing. I said, "Look, how many of you understand that I have nearly 30 years of corporate branding marketing experience, but I cannot teach you this because they just told me I have 5 minutes to share with you what I know." I said, "How many of you know that that's not going to happen?" And they're all like, "What?" I said, "I'm sorry, you're not going to get what you paid for." I said, "But this is what happens. Life happens." I went on and talked about how my dad took his own life. I've never shared about this trauma. This is my first time speaking publicly. I just quit my job 3 weeks ago. I have no freaking clue what I'm doing. And here I am. You got me. I'm a newly divorced mom. My 4-year-old son was in the front. I said, "The reason why I'm here is because of him." And I started crying. That little boy was the reason why I did what I did. I left my job. I shared my story. I cried on stage. I said, "I got 2 minutes left. My presentation PowerPoint, they don't have a cord for, so I can't even show you all the beautiful things that I had done in preparation for this." But I remember locking eyes on 3 women who were sobbing with me because I was talking about the fear of looking bad, the fear of doing it wrong, the fear of making mistakes, the fear of holding back, not living my dreams, not doing the things I want to do because the world told us this is the way you're supposed to do life. And I said, the way we're supposed to do life did not bring me happiness, joy, and fulfillment. I was in an unhappy marriage. I said, I did all the right things. I went to school. I was the first in my family to graduate college. I got a great job. I have an amazing job, making all the money, buying all the things. I have the house. I have the car. I have the husband. Now I have the baby. But nobody told me, what do I do now after the baby comes?
Mhm.
And all I did was I just shared it and I asked the audience questions. Everybody's got their hands up and like, how many of you like, and it was the most engaging presentation I've ever done. And I commanded 1,200 eyeballs to engage and be with me emotionally. And so before I even got off the stage, there was already a line of people. And the first guy, Renee, he had his credit card in his hand. He's like, when I got off the stage, I said, I don't know who needs to hear this today. I said, but somebody's sitting there today. This is probably your 30th, 40th, maybe your first event you've been to. You're taking all these notes, but you know damn well that come Monday, you're not going to do anything about this. So I only want to work with the people who actually are tired of being tired. They're exhausted. They want to start a business, but they don't know how. I said, I want to show you how. I don't know what I'm doing either, but I'm going to help you figure it out, because if I can help these corporations make billions of dollars off of what I help them do, I said, I know I can help you too. I gave 1,200 strangers my cell phone, stood up there. I said, text me to this number. I made the guy put my cell phone on the screen. This is my cell phone. Text me your name. Give me 2 dates and 2 times that you are available to talk. And I'm going to call each and every one of you. We're going to figure this out together. I was the only female speaker that day that actually, I did not have a merchant account. I didn't even know how to take a credit card. This is the point I'm trying to make. I said, if you call me and we do this, I'm going to spend some time with you. We're going to have a conversation. I said, I don't even know. I'm like, it's free. I'm just going to give you an hour of my time for free. They were all like, what? So I didn't sell anything, right? And the guy, I got off the stage, and the first guy that had his credit card, he's like, I don't know what you do. I don't know what you're selling. He's like, but I want to work with you. I said, okay, $100. He was like, what? And he was, well, how do I pay you? I said, I don't know. He goes, oh my God. I go, I'll take a check. He was like, what? So all the things that went wrong, I turned it into a workshop to teach people, like, you're going to make mistakes. You don't know what you're doing. You've never done this before. It's okay, right?
Right.
Be okay with looking bad. Be okay with doing it wrong. Be okay with not having it all perfect, because perfection is what keeps you in paralysis, right? Not starting that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole thing about branding is that it evolves. You're evolving, you're constantly refining, you're constantly adjusting, you're figuring out what works, what doesn't work, right? I remember charging $100 for my first hour, and I was terrified, thinking no one's going to pay me that. And then when I actually got a client off of what I shared with him, my business coach said, why aren't you charging more? And I said, I don't know, I'm afraid. So
Right.
from $100 an hour to $500. And I remember the first client that booked me for $500. He was so like resistant. He's like, this is too expensive. I don't know why you're charging $500. This better be good, or I'm getting my money back, right? I said, okay, fine. I'll work with you until you make your money back. Had a meeting with him. Like, I think not even 8 days, 9 days later, he calls me. He got a $3.2 million contract from Wrigley Field.
Wow. That's incredible. You
He
just
said, yes. What it did was, it was a testimony to me that I knew I had something inside of me, and I had to get past all these limiting beliefs about no one's going to pay me, no one's going to listen to what I do. Like, the whole speaking day was me trying to be perfect,
mm-hmm.
and it unraveled. And in that moment, I was faced with a decision. It was, do I want to keep doing life the way I've been doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And, and the thought was, I would have told the guy, I would have told him, no, I'm not going to go on, go to the next speaker. I
Yeah.
could have, because I was afraid.
Right.
So, but I also had the instant thought that God downloaded on me, like, I need you to open your mouth. That's what I heard. Coming up the stairs, he's like, open your mouth. I didn't know what it meant, but I heard his voice. I didn't know that was God's voice.
Yeah.
It took me
But
two
it's a
more times of
huge
hearing them. Yes.
Yeah, and it's a huge testament that you listen to it too. I think that's a big thing is God's always speaking to us, but I think a lot of the times we brush it off or we go, "Oh, that's something else. It's not actually him." But this is just such an incredible story, and I wish we had like 9 hours to talk about stuff like this. But
Yes.
I think this is a great testament, like you mentioned, to just putting that fear aside and going like, I'm submitting to you, God, but I'm also submitting to myself and my worth that I don't fully understand yet, but other people see in me. So I have to honor and respect that.
Yes.
So thank you so much for the time today.
Thank
This is
you,
an amazing
Macy.
kickoff
Yeah.
episode. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it too.
Thank
And
you.
I'll make sure I have all of her information, all of her contact information in the description. Go check her out if anyone's interested in speaking further or working with her. I know she has a few things coming out that she's working on. So again,
Yeah,
thank you so much for the time. This
you're
was a total
welcome.
blast and honor.
Yeah, if you're looking to start, if you're speaking and wanting to get more speaking gigs, or if you're trying to figure out how to craft your message and how to pitch it, that's the biggest thing is how do I speak and how do I actually monetize this? That's where a lot of my seasoned speakers are. But
Amazing. Yeah.
I'm here to help guide you in any way I can.
Well,
So
that's so,
to
thank
connect.
you so much. I appreciate it. And to everyone watching, I really appreciate you as well. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you,
Bye.
Macy.